the ultra-impressive North Eastern Railway's Dynamometer Car from Rapido has returned after its recall, and now hopefully I can fully appreciate this model. There's no escaping the frustration of the events surrounding this apparently cursed model. Delays due to the delivery man dropping them off the back of the lorry, which Rapido handled very well, and then following on to the recall because a component was changed at the factory, which led to the potential for damage to the model. Again, excellently handled by Rapido, a very rubbish set of events that were dealt to them, but a very well carried out response. So the dynamometer car then, what is it? It's a vehicle that can be used to gauge the performance of a locomotive whilst in use, sort of like a laboratory on flanged wheels. This one was built in 1906 by the North Eastern Railway at Darlington and has now been preserved at the National Railway Museum. It was used perhaps most notably when Mallard set its world record, and also during the 1948 exchange trials, where there were many photos of it in all sorts of trains behind many different locomotives from all of the big four. So this model then, how does it compare to the real thing? Well, I put on my researcher's hat and I went looking all over the internet for some drawings, and I found some, but they were not good quality. I then saw that you can obtain a high quality version of it, but for that they wanted this thing called money. And I have already blown the budget for this video already on Sherbet Dibdabs, so I'm going to have to use photos that I've taken at the National Railway Museum. So I can't quite comment on if it's the right size, just from the general overview of it. So detail wise, I spent ages poring over this model and said photos of the real thing to see if there's anything missing. And all I could see missing were the things that were included in the extra detail bag. And those extra details aren't just details that they couldn't be bothered to fit at the factory. They're things like the 3-link couplings and the vac bags, things that sort of hamper the running if fitted, as they'll get in the way of the actual couplings, etc. If you're just going to mount it on a shelf and look at it, sure, you can install these extra details. However, as I fully intend to run it, they're going to stay in the bag. Also, there were these little etched window screens, which, looking at photos, they weren't always fitted to the coach. Sometimes they were there, sometimes they weren't. So by looks of things, that's down to the customer's discretion as to whether or not it's fitted. So the details themselves, what are they actually like? Well, they're very fine, they're very accurate, and they are very many. If you look at the leaflet that comes with the model, there's an exploded view of all the parts. And it is somewhat substantial. 236 parts substantial. But for now, I'll skim over some of the most notable parts. You've got your etched brass window covers, again with the spare ones in the detail pack. Separately fitted handrails, door handles, steps, vents. A beautifully moulded and painted extra wheel. A stupid amount of underframe detail. An incredible finish on the whole body that does actually look like varnished wood. More detail inside than a lot of coaches have on the outside. Also there's lighting, so you can see the interior detail all the time. This is controlled by the supplied magic wand, which works a reed switch in the roof and is powered by the track. Take note, Hornby and Hattons, that is how you do lighting. Some of the printed details are crazy too. I mean, look at this dial. Tiny, yet fully printed and readable, although that's with a magnifying glass. And this cap here says gas on the end. What more do you want? And for those that do care, yes, the buffers are sprung. So all these things sound like good things. Was there actually anything negative? Now bear with me on this. I had to set my standards pretty high to try and find these. These are really nitpicking. So first of all, this lamp iron here, it looks a little bit big, and it looks a little bit close to this thing here. As I say, nitpicking, but this is what I'm resorting to. Also, the gap around these ducats at the front look a little bit bulbous. It doesn't look like it follows the curvature of the coach body. So it does look a tiny bit stuck on, but frankly, that's all I can find. This is a truly fantastic model and is very deserving of the previous title, Coach of the Decade, when it was previously released by Rails of Sheffield. which is a good thing, as it suits the ultimately extremely hefty price tag of £118.95. Now, I don't want to tell people it's definitely worth paying that much, as I think that's down to personal choice. However, if there was a mainstream ready-to-run coach to pay more for than any other coach ever, it would definitely be this one, as Rapido have pulled an absolute blinder. So, how does it run then? Wonderfully. I haven't had to adjust any back-to-backs to get perfect running. The couplings, perfect, nice and close, and it's impeccably smooth. The lights do start off on, and it doesn't remember whether they were on or off if the power is removed from the unit. So if it goes over a dead spot, the lights come on if they were off. Not exactly an issue if you had good track. I don't really have good track, so it is something just to bear in mind. The wand works a treat as well, although it can be a little bit difficult to get the hang of it when you start off, but eventually you'll get it. Ultimately, I intend to fit some people to the interior. Seeing as it's so open and it's lit, it just seems foolish not to. Also, I plan to get a model of NER A14474 Victor Wilde, so to sort of reenact the 1925 locomotive exchange. Granted, the Dynamometer Car never actually travelled to the Great Western, nor can I see any photos of it showing that it was actually used anywhere in the trial. It may or may not have been, I don't know, but my limited research here has shown that it wasn't. But it is my railway, and I will rewrite history if I please. Although the part where castles were proved to be superior, that shall remain the same. For now though, here are some videos of it running in a variety of trains, some harder to justify than others, I'll give you that, but some surprisingly accurate. But thank you very much for watching. As I hope you can tell, this is a great model that I am extremely fond of. I think I've expressed that. If not, I will mention it. It's a very good coach. And if you can get hold of one, it will definitely be worth your while. But until next time, subscribe, as next time I should be returning to the modified haul. See you all then.